Chapter 2470, The Zhurong Clan 1. Visible to the naked eye, the air fractured like two invisible meteors slicing through the neighborhood. Wherever they passed, the steel rebar was torn clean out, and the concrete vaporized instantly. Split oxygen molecules in the air rushed madly into the fissures, producing a terrifying series of low-frequency booms. The entire block seemed forcibly sliced into several pieces, its edges glowing a scorched white. That was a space ability user among the Zhurong warriors, his space ability carrying a searing might. Vermilion Bird was about to strike again when Tu Yunlai declared, "Leave it to me." Roaring with fury, Tu Yunlai stepped forward. Flames within his chest seemed doused with a can of gasoline. Vulcan, explosion! His fist slammed out, igniting dozens of nodes within the air, exploding in rapid succession like a chain reaction in a vacuum. The explosive pressure formed a massive funnel-shaped shockwave, forcing the two space rifts outward before violently snapping them back together. Boom! The two space rifts collided under his pressure, erupting into a colossal white-hot flower. The second Zhurong warrior's attack was brutally nullified by Tu Yunlia's most savage counter. On the battlefield, the third figure atop the pillar of flame charged forward. He carried no weapon, only his arms. Those hands were half an inch longer than normal, with thick, heavy knuckles and fingertips like black iron, suddenly cooled after being heated red-hot. He spread his arms wide, as if to embrace the city, then slammed his palms downward. Combustible elements from all directions were seized by him. The residual gas within the buildings, the underground steam seeping from street cracks, the scorched arcs in street corner electrical boxes, the human oils pulverized in dust carried by the wind. Every combustible element was stripped away, extracted from every tiny space, coalescing in his palms into a terrifying, dark red heart. The power of your flames, returned to you. He chuckled softly, offering it to Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai. No need to return it. You can keep it for yourself. Tu Yunlai lunged sideways, arching his back like a colossal black-horned bull standing tall against the heavens. His fists collided, terrifying flames blazing upon them, then the impact created a hemispherical vacuum. As a fire-type ability user, he knew exactly how powerful that mass in his opponent's hands was. He knew that if this burning mass fell, an entire city block would be hollowed out and ignited. Vermilion Bird stood shoulder to shoulder, her fingertips glowing with an icy blue light once more. An ice-blue feather rose from her palm, resembling a slender whirlwind. Vermilion Bird's ice-blue feathers drifted from her fingertips, one after another, filling the entire space ahead like a silent blue snowfall. The blue snow transformed into a storm, completely enveloping the Zhurong warrior. It swiftly devoured all the power within the mass substance in his hand, reducing it to a charred lump. The third warrior's gaze finally sharpened. She's got some skill. All the Zhurong warrior's eyes shifted toward Vermilion Bird. This land dweller's power seems to counter our Zhurong clan. It doesn't matter. Her strength is nothing special. Let's finish her off right here. The fourth Zhurong warrior pressed a hand on the first shoulder and stepped forward deliberately. His helmet bore a slender, flame-sword crest, like an inverted comet's tail. My turn now. He raised his arm, executing an effortless, diagonal sweep through the air. With my searing flame, I become the sword that slashes all things. A crimson slash, as thin as a strand of hair yet piercing the sky, instantly appeared between the distant mountains and the city. Where the slash passed, the mountainside was cleaved into a flat, almost abstract cross-section. A high-speed rail bridge at the city's edge silently tilted and crashed to the ground, no explosions, no screams, only the long, mournful wail of metal rolling across the earth. At a certain temperature, sheer energy alone could slash anything. This flame-slicing sword swiftly lunged toward Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai ahead. It all happened in an instant. Though untouched by the flame's edge, Vermilion Bird already felt her skin sting. Without a moment's hesitation, terrifying ice-blue flames erupted all over her body. A colossal ice-blue Vermilion Bird soared skyward with a piercing cry, forming a sacred phantom behind her. Ice prison, falling feathers. Countless ultrafine, nearly invisible blue feather fragments materialized from nowhere in the air. The entire space was bathed in an icy blue light. Feathers fell like snow across the sky. The slender, razor-sharp blades of flame slashed through the air with blinding speed, yet upon touching Vermilion Bird's domain, every last bit of their energy was devoured. Even my attack. The fourth Juron warrior finally lost his composure. His flame blades possessed devastating power, capable of slicing through diamonds with ease. Yet the opponent hadn't recklessly blocked them physically. Instead, she had absorbed all their energy mid-fall. A near unbeatable ability, mastering both offense and defense. At this moment, Vermilion Bird finally commanded the attention of all the Juron warriors. Yet Vermilion Bird's movements showed no sign of stopping. Pure defense was impossible. Her gaze grew icy as her fingers moved ceaselessly. A sky filled with ice blue feathers began to fall. Each feather was a vessel for absorbing energy, landing on the warrior's shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers, silently draining the thermal power from every joint within a fraction of a second. His wrists felt bound by invisible cold shackles. Caught utterly off guard, the Juron warrior felt an overwhelming chill. His lips turned purple, and he began to shiver violently. "Damn it! Don't let her ability touch you!" The Juron warrior roared. At that very moment, Tu Yunlai bellowed, seizing the chance while the warrior's movements were sealed to burst forth from the side. Vulcan's Inferno Blast. His fist slammed toward the fourth Juron warrior. With only hundreds of meters between them, Tu Yunlai's strike was devastatingly powerful. An endless crimson flame storm condensed into a single beam, crashing directly into the warrior's chest. Bang! The fourth Juron warrior's body stiffened, unable to dodge in time. His chest plate caved in as he was flung backward into the undried molten pool behind him. Half his body submerged in the searing lava, only a low, angry growl escaped him. "Kill them! Wipe out every last one of these bastards!" Tu Yunlai roared. "That's exactly what I was thinking." Vermilion Bird nodded. Both had already gauged the Juron warrior's strength. Their power was only around 20,000 points on the ability index. With their combined strength, they were more than a match. Crucially, this fire-based race was a natural power source for Vermilion Bird, whose abilities completely suppressed them. Seeing their comrade severely wounded, the eyes of the remaining four Juron warriors turned icy. It's time to end this game. Chapter 2471, The Juron Clan 2. The battlefield was torn apart by flames and frigid air. Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai were now locked in combat with 5 Juron warriors. The air warped, streets turned to scorched earth, and collapsing skyscrapers plunged into the roar of molten lava. Everything resembled the apocalypse. Vermilion Bird's figure darted between blazing heat and freezing cold, her form enveloped by a blue phantom of the Vermilion Bird. Blue flames blazed fiercely, illuminating the entire city. These were not ordinary flames, but flames capable of devouring other flames. With each swing of her hand, the heat in the air was swallowed into blue light, scattering across the sky as icy feathers. Where the ice feathers fell, the surface temperature plummeted to over 100 degrees below zero, freezing even molten magma into a layer of azure crystal. Tu Yunlai charged like a burning meteorite, his entire body engulfed in explosive flames. Where his feet struck, the earth ignited instantly. His hatred for the Juron clan erupted in a roar. The power of Vulcan's explosion gathered within him, each punch like a miniature volcanic eruption. Roaring, he unleashed a punch that sent shockwaves surging into towering waves of fire over 10 meters high, scorching winds melting steel into liquid. "Damned bastards, die!" His furious shout unleashed a sea of explosive flames, instantly blasting 2 of the 5 Juron warriors back, their crimson armor cracking with dozens of fissures. Though the 5 Juron warriors were the vanguard, each stood like ancient war gods. They stood atop molten lava, their massive forms clad in armor forged from rock-hard iron and flowing blood, their eyes the color of abyss flames. Their movements were deliberate, carrying an air of composed, destructive might. One raised a hand, tracing a searing crimson arc through the air. Wherever it passed, the atmosphere burned into transparent ripples. The fiery line struck viciously toward Vermilion Bird. Vermilion Bird's gaze remained serene as she pressed her palms together. A vermilion phoenix formed of blue flames spread its wings from behind her, its icy aura instantly engulfing the fiery line. Blue and crimson energies clashed mid-air, their explosive brilliance making the very heavens tremble. The Zhurong warrior's attack was absorbed. Flames froze between Vermilion Bird's palms, shattering instantly. She remarked indifferently, "Your fire is too weak. It doesn't even satisfy my appetite for devouring." Faced with the Vermilion Bird's blatant mockery, the remaining 3 Zhurong warriors charged forward in fury. One wielded a rock spear, its shaft solidified like molten fire. A single thrust pierced the street, leaving a massive crater in its wake. Another spread his arms wide, unleashing waves of fire that coiled into hundreds of serpentine flames, tearing at the air. The last descended from the sky, his footsteps unleashing shockwaves that cracked the ground for hundreds of meters. Tu Yunlai roared as he met the onslaught. His arms crossed, his fists blazing with frenzied white flames, flames so intense they seemed colorless, signifying temperatures beyond the limit. He met the fiery spear head-on, shattering it with a single punch. The spear exploded into countless sparks mid-air, swept into the blue storm by Vermilion Bird's icy flames. Vermilion Bird uttered coldly, "Ice prison Vermilion Seal." Countless blue feather fragments rained down from the sky, like blades forged from ice and snow, instantly enveloping the 5 Zhurong warriors. Their flames were devoured and stripped away, their energy transformed into streaks of light, controlled and drawn into her palms. Damn it! What kind of bizarre power is this? The Zhurong warriors roared. It must be noted that even Zhang Yi, upon first encountering Vermilion Bird's abilities, had praised them highly. Now, with her ability index soaring to 26,000 points, she possessed combat strength capable of challenging even bishop-level supernatural beings. In these 5 Zhurong warriors, whose abilities were completely countered by hers, their powers automatically weakened by 30% when facing off against Vermilion Bird. Tu Yunlai seized the moment, charging forward. Planting a foot on the molten lava, he unleashed a burst of flames beneath him and roared as he slammed his fist down. Their coordination was seamless. Vermilion Bird sealed their movements and abilities, rendering their skills useless. At best, they'd become nourishment for her. Meanwhile, Tu Yunlai struck, delivering the fatal blow. A colossal flaming fist smashed down from the sky. With a thunderous crash, the earth trembled. 5 Zhurong warriors were completely submerged in the lava, the flames burning on their bodies instantly extinguished. Inside the command hall of the East Sea region, Li Guangxiao watched the satellite feed of the scene, his expression finally relaxing. He slapped the table and laughed, shouting, "Well done." Black Tortoise nodded beside him, with Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai working together, this wave of enemies is no threat. Meanwhile, in the command center of Blizzard City, Zhu Jing sat with his arms crossed, his expression grave. Jiu sat beside him, her voice as cold and clear as a mountain spring. "Looks like they handled it well." Yet, the moment her words fell, the screen suddenly trembled. A deep rumble rose from the earth's depths, like some colossal beast slowly awakening. Immediately after, a low, hollow laugh echoed through the communication channel, carrying an unearthly reverberation. Interesting. So this is what a 6th-generation powerhouse looks like. The voice was deep, tinged with a condescending disdain. Hearing this, Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai, who had just finished a battle, both paled. Are there more enemies? The magma on the ground began to churn, pulsing like a beating heart. A colossal figure slowly rose from the sea of fire. Clad in crimson lava armor, his chest pulsed with flowing veins of fire, and an intense, suffocating heat radiated from his entire being. With each step he took, the earth emitted a metallic groan. The magma beneath his feet was drawn into his armor, transforming into flowing veins of flame. His face was half hidden in the flames, a smug smile playing at the corners of his mouth, eyes that seemed capable of consuming everything. Another Zhurong warrior, but his presence was completely incomparable to the previous 5. One of the elite of the Zhurong clan, a leader of the landing operation, Lu Xiao. He cast a casual glance at Tu Yunlai and Vermilion Bird ahead, his voice echoing through the air like thunder rolling across a sea of fire. To have slain 5 Zhurong warriors, your strength is commendable. But if this represents the peak of the land dwellers' combat prowess, it is rather disappointing. Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai lifted their heads simultaneously, their gazes fixed intently on Lu Xiao before them. The oppressive pressure he radiated was heavier than any enemy they had faced before. The air boiled under Lu Xiao's imposing presence, the temperature soaring rapidly. Even the steel within the ruins began to soften, and the blue ice flames flickered unsteadily under the intense heat. Vermilion Bird's gaze was as frosty as ice, her voice icy. "Are you their leader?" Lu Xiao's lips curved upward. Flames ignited from his shoulders, coalescing into a fiery beast with claws and fangs, circling behind him. "Leader?" He chuckled softly. "No, I'm merely here to clean up the trash." That laughter tore through the night sky like searing flames. The fiery glow illuminated half the heavens, and the powerful energy fluctuations triggered urgent alarm signals from the intelligent system embedded in both their bodies. Chapter 2472, The Zhurong Clan 3. Li Guangxiao's expression changed abruptly. "It's a stronger alien tribesman. Vermilion Bird, be cautious. That's no ordinary warrior, it must be a commander among that foreign tribe." Zhu Jing narrowed his eyes and murmured, "It seems the real battle has only just begun." Zhu Yu, standing nearby, witnessed everything through satellite surveillance and the monitoring devices attached to Tu Yunlai and the others. "Should I prepare reinforcements?" She glanced at Zhu Zheng and asked calmly. Zhu Zheng's brow furrowed deeply before he replied firmly, "The situation is unclear. Continue observing. We have no idea how powerful these alien tribes truly are." Zhu nodded silently, saying no more. On the battlefield of Anma City, flames raged like a surging torrent, turning the land into a searing furnace. The entire city now stood reduced to a single patch of untouched ground, the sanctuary Vermilion Bird had carved out behind her. Every other corner had long been consumed by the inferno. Lu Xiao radiated an absurdly high temperature, warping the very air around him as if he had ignited the entire world. He merely stared coldly at the two before him, his eyes brimming with unquestionable arrogance and contempt. "Let's begin the expulsion process." His tone was flat, yet it thundered like rolling lightning into their ears. The next instant, a deafening blast of shockwaves erupted. It was the precursor to Lu Xiao unleashing his full supernatural powers. Scorching heat surged from his body, shaking the entire city. Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai both staggered back, their expressions abruptly changing. A red alert flashed across their tactical visors, the screen displaying a staggering, heart-stopping number. Ability Index. 32,000 points. Tu Yunlai sucked in a sharp breath, his voice trembling slightly. Vermilion Bird's brow furrowed, her gaze sharpening to a piercing intensity. This guy is tougher than the previous 5 combined. Though it would be challenging, Vermilion Bird felt a surge of eagerness. With her 26,000-point ability index, this was her first direct confrontation against a bishop-level mutant. She wanted to see if her formidable ice prison ability could hold its own against such a formidable opponent. "Someday, I will be able to hold up a corner of Huashu Kingdom's sky. Just like that man. Doesn't he often fight enemies stronger than himself and always emerge victorious? Why can't I do the same?" Zhang Yi had become the idol in Vermilion Bird's heart. But she had no idea that if Zhang Yi were here now, without absolute defensive capabilities, he would choose to flee without hesitation. Ice blue mist spilled from Vermilion Bird's mouth as a colossal azure phoenix spread its wings behind her. 100-meter-tall phantom flame cast an intimidating aura. Yet Lu Xiao merely observed the phoenix with interest, his gaze utterly unflinching. "You refuse to flee and dare declare war on me? How amusing." A terrifying aura erupted from Lu Xiao's body. That force pulsed like the heartbeat of hell, its pressure thickening the air itself. Tu Yunlia's ability index stood at a mere 16,000 points. Against an existence of this level, he possessed no capacity for resistance whatsoever. His chest felt crushed by a 1,000-pound boulder, making even breathing a struggle. You think sheer pressure will subdue us? Think again. Vermilion Bird steadied herself, palms pressed together as blue flames roared within her. The power of the ice prison unleashed, countless blue fire feathers sweeping forth. The temperature of space plummeted to an extreme, even flowing magma freezing into azure crystal walls. Tu Yunlai, she growled. Tu Yunlai understood instantly, roaring as he pushed the Vulcan explosion's energy to its absolute limit. In that instant, the very heavens and earth shifted. The flames surrounding him compressed into tiny points of light, converging before his fist. Exploding God's annihilation strike. The punch erupted, tearing the sky asunder. The blaze's radiance dyed the night sky crimson. Their combined power coalesced into a symphony of apocalyptic destruction. Yet, Lu Xiao merely sneered coldly. He raised his right hand. A stream of light gathered in his palm, transforming into a blazing sun within the air. City scorching blaze. With his deep incantation, the earth roared. In that instant, flames erupted simultaneously across the entire city, as if summoned by some invisible divine power. Streets, vehicles, buildings, corpses, dust, all ignited instantly, coalescing into a total firestorm. The entire sky transformed into an ocean of orange-red. Vermilion Bird fought with all her might, her blue flames sustaining a barrier, yet she was still forced back step by step. Her ice flames absorbed Lu Xiao's energy, but the scale of that scorching flame had already surpassed her absorption limit. The inherent countering of their abilities couldn't bridge the vast gap in their ability indexes. Moreover, as an ancient race, the Zhurong clan possessed a mastery of supernatural abilities far surpassing that of land-dwelling humans. Having only studied the lunar meditation technique for half a year, Vermilion Bird was still unable to unleash the full power of her own abilities. Thus, in this confrontation, she suffered severe injuries. Tu Yunlai charged forward, unleashing the Vulcan explosion at full power. The backlash hurled him backward, slamming him into distant ruins, half his body charred black. Vermilion Bird gritted her teeth, the blue flames in her eyes nearly extinguished. Her communicator buzzed. Li Guangxiao's voice crackled through it, Vermilion Bird. Abandon everyone else. Evacuate immediately. That's a high-ranking Zhurong clan commander. Energy level confirmed, 32,000 points. We're dispatching Black Tortoise for support right now. There isn't time. Vermilion Bird's voice trembled. Her barrier began to crack, the blue flames slowly consumed by the orange-red inferno. Only now did she grasp the sheer terror of the enemy's power. The gap between bishop level and chariot level remained as vast as a chasm. But could she even escape? An endless sea of fire had already sealed off every direction. Besides, Vermilion Bird couldn't bear to abandon the struggling people and flee alone. These were the thousands they had fought so hard to save. They were still clinging to life, pinning their last hope on Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai. Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai could never abandon civilians to flee alone. Lu Xiao watched them, a smirk curling his lips, his voice laced with contemptuous laughter. Is this the so-called strength of the sixth generation? Unable to withstand even the heat of my breath. He extended his hand, fingers slightly splayed. Scorching energy coalesced into a colossal palm of molten rock, slowly enveloping Vermilion Bird. Ice prison Vermilion Bird let out a piercing shriek, violently unleashing frigid flames, desperately absorbing all the encroaching heat energy. Yet in this clash of power, she was steadily driven into a corner. Vermilion Bird and Tu Yunlai refused to give up, continuing their fierce battle. Simultaneously, they understood that relying solely on themselves, they clearly couldn't defeat the formidable foe before them. A distress signal was sent out in two directions, toward the Jiangnan region headquarters and the East Sea region headquarters. We've encountered an overwhelming opponent. Requesting assistance. Requesting assistance.